And we are live. Welcome to Olivia's Stories, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Redditors. I would like to share with you all how my wife, whom we have been together for 5 years, has been cheating on me with our neighbor, and how I plan on ruining their lives. I caught her cheating on me with the new neighbor, so I decided to make her pay, but with a twist. I made sure she was aware that I knew of her cheating behavior. At first, as soon as I found out that she had been cheating, I decided to act normal and show no signs that I was aware of the infidelity, but I decided to reveal the truth to her and watch her struggle to understand how much I know. My name is Anthony. I'm a 35-year-old business manager at one of the popular stores that I unfortunately can't mention. My wife's name is Kimberly. She's a 30-year-old entrepreneur. My wife and I have been married for 5 years now, and I recently caught her cheating on me with our new neighbor, Jason. Jason just packed into our neighborhood not too long ago. It's heartbreaking seeing the one person you love and cherish betraying and playing with your heart like it's nothing. Frankly, I still can't believe that my wife could just throw away what we have shared together for 5 years for just a few minutes of pleasure. Before I continue, let me share with you all how we both met. Kim and I met at her best friend's aunt's wedding, who happens to be my mom's friend. At that time, we were still at college, but we didn't really have time to interact with each other. As fate would have it, we met at a fundraiser again. We both recognized each other and chit-chatted for a while. But this time, I made sure I got her contact details before leaving. Kim and I started texting for late hours, meeting for brunch and dinner dates before I decided to ask her to be my girlfriend. She accepted wholeheartedly, and it felt surreal because I haven't had the courage to ask any girl out before. Our late hours of texting and calling increased, went on a couple of dates, hangouts, and functions together. We dated for 2 years before I proposed to her to be my wife, and she said yes. We got married a few months after our graduation from college and moved to New York to start our own lives. We lived as normal couples and pursued our career. I got employed to work at the sales department of the business I'm currently working at. My job requires long work hours, and I often come home late just to make our customers satisfied. My hectic work schedule sometimes hinders participation in activities unrelated to career, which causes challenges in carving out quality time together with my wife. It's not always easy to manage demands between my career and personal life. This makes me feel drained and guilty sometimes. On the other hand, my wife is an entrepreneur. We both make enough income to sustain the both of us. We decided not to have kids yet due to our busy work routine, as we don't want to give a lack of attention to our kids. We both still make out time to go on regular dates despite our busy schedules. Kim and I supported each other through thick and thin. Together we built a strong relationship well, to the best of my knowledge. But now, I have come to realize that everything was just a lie and a sham. I've been deceived and blindsided right under my own nose. Kim started acting weird and staying out late. It's unlike her, as she's always waiting for me to come back home so we can retire to bed together. I tried asking her, but decided to give her the benefit of doubt that she's not in any way cheating on me. 2 weeks went by and Kim's sudden change grew worse, so one day I decided to ask her what's wrong and why she was constantly coming home late. She brushed it off like it's nothing and said I was overreacting and that I don't have anything to worry about. At first I believed her, but then again my instincts kept telling me that something was wrong. She stood up from where we were seated and insisted that she was very tired and wanted to get some rest so she could prepare early for work. I complied and didn't stress her further since we both were tired from work. Guys, this just goes to show how much I cared and practically worshipped my wife. I don't mean that I worshipped her literally, but I'm just trying to say that I adored my wife. I think that's what people refer to as simp nowadays. I was practically the submissive man in the marriage. But now I have realized that being the submissive man will only end up making me a laughingstock. I am very ashamed of myself even as I write this. It makes no sense that I trusted my wife so much that I didn't know that she had been cheating on me. It's even more crazy and wild that our neighbor is her affair partner, and it took me so long to find out about this. I think that my wife is very aware of the fact that I am a very calm man. That's the only reason she has the audacity to cheat with our neighbor, who is literally living a few steps away from our house. I know you all are wondering how I actually found out that Kim is cheating on me. I found out 2 weeks ago, and it was only because I had to take up extra majors to find out the truth. I spoke to some of my friends, and they recommended that I hire a private investigator so that everything could happen smoothly. I was very hesitant at first because I did not think it was right to keep an eye on my wife without her knowing. But as time went on, I realized that I had to take up those measures if I wanted to find out exactly what had been going on behind my back. It is a known fact that I would not have been able to get the real truth from her because cheaters never accept their faults. I decided to hire the private investigator because I was constantly getting paranoid and irritated. I didn't want Kim to know about my decision, so I decided to be secret and smooth with my movements. Due to the nature of my job, I'm not able to carry such tasks out efficiently by myself, so I had to get a professional to do the job. I decided to make the private investigator my gatekeeper so that I would be able to be secret about my movement. It was a very versatile plan, and I actually succeeded in concealing my intentions. Kim had no idea, and that was the perfect plan. At first, Kim did not understand why we suddenly needed a gatekeeper when it had never been a problem before. I had to convince her that I was having problems with opening the gate by myself when I got back from work. She did not seem to bother me after I told her what I needed the gatekeeper for. The private investigator I hired was very good at his job because it really made it look like it was a real gatekeeper. If I didn't hire him, I would have really believed that it was just a normal gatekeeper. When the private investigator started work, I was hardly even home to get any feedback. My work really took most of my time, and I was only free during the weekend. It was during one of these weekends that I was able to get some feedback from the private investigator. He told me that there was not really much he could say since my wife has been careful in all her endeavors. After a few more days, the private investigator told me that he already got substantial proof that Kim had been cheating on me. When I asked what the evidence was, he told me that he had pictures and videos of my wife leaving the compound. I did not find that suspicious at all and asked why that was a cause for an alarm. He told me that she never really left the neighborhood even after getting dressed up. Apparently, Kim had been getting dressed to see the neighbor. If you are wondering who the neighbor is, he's the same guy that moved in barely 4 months ago. It really hurt me to discover that Kim was comfortable cheating on me with a man that just got to the neighborhood. After 2 more weeks, the private investigator was able to give me all the proof I needed. The proof consisted of pictures of my wife with the new neighbor, Jason. I honestly did not see that one coming, guys. It was a huge blow to the back. I didn't just decide to stop being a simp overnight. It was a gradual process, and Kim's betrayal only made me more determined. After gathering all the evidence I needed, I concluded that I was not going to let the betrayal go just like that. It took me days of thinking and trying to put my thoughts together for me to come up with a plan. I don't plan on keeping quiet and only speaking up when I have gotten my revenge. No, guys, that would just be very stupid of me. I want her to know I am aware of everything she's been up to. I want to see how scared she gets and how much trouble she goes through just to properly understand what's going on. My first decision is to give her hints that I know she's cheating. I want to drive her crazy with suspense. I have so much planned out for her, and I honestly cannot wait till she falls right into my trap. The worst kind of men are the gentle ones who were forced to become ruthless because of how they were treated. I plan on doing something very baffling next week, and I'll make an update to this post when I'm able to pull that through. Please comment under this post and share your own experiences with me. I'm looking forward to reading all your thoughts and ideas, and I hope that I'm able to also help someone who is in need of directions. Till next time. Update. Hi guys, I'm back, and I'm more than ready to share this update with you all. It's been very hard for me to live in the same house with the disgusting woman I call my wife. She's cheating, and she has no shame in doing it. My private investigator has been giving me more updates, and the contents of everything he has sent to me is just despicable. A few days ago, I gathered almost 10 pictures from the pictures the private investigator sent to me. Kim was sitting in the living room when I barged in. I was very angry because I'd seen some more pictures that day. Before I even got an opportunity to talk and state why I was there, she had the audacity to ask me for some money. Yes, you read that right. Kim had the audacity to ask me for money even after all the things she'd been up to. I was so angry that I grabbed her elbow and pushed her till she was lying face flat on the ground. I threw the disgusting pictures at her and watched how her eyes widened in surprise. Yes, guys, Kim looked surprised. I could see how guilty she was, and that was what enraged me more. All these while, a part of me had been hoping that she was innocent and that the pictures were fake. But that day, I discovered that Kim was actually more vicious than the private investigator painted her out to be. Kim showed no remorse for her cheating behavior. In fact, She acted like she did absolutely nothing wrong. Her indifference only angered me more and motivated me to make her life difficult. Kim had the audacity to try to pin everything on me. She tried to make it seem like I was the reason she suddenly decided to cheat on me. We got into a very heated argument and Kim decided to set me up. She kept throwing herself at me and trying to make me hit her. Yes, guys, like tried to make me physically attack her. I was smart enough to understand what she was trying to do, so I kept my hands folded gently behind my back and made the decision to ignore her. I knew that she was looking for a reason to implicate me and possibly get me arrested for domestic violence. I can't get revenge on her when I'm in prison, so I had to control myself. I did not let myself stay there and listen to all her lies. I made sure she understood the fact that our relationship was over. Kim was so confident that I was just bluffing and was not going to do anything to her. I assure you guys that all her rants only made me more determined. When I saw how nonchalant she had been, I knew that I'd been a doormat husband. For her to be so confident that I was not going to hurt her just confirmed all my fears. I'd been the world's biggest fool. I left the house that same day and did not return till the next day. When I got back, Kim greeted me at the door and told me that we had no food in the house. Yes, guys, she had the effrontery to ask me for money for groceries. She thought I'd forget about everything that had transpired. I ignored her and went straight to my room. I didn't waste any time before throwing all of Kim's things out of the closet. Even while I was busy gathering her things together, Kim was nowhere to be found. When I brought all her things outside, I realized that she had left the house. It didn't take me much time to guess where she had been. I was sure that she went to visit her lover. I took a matchstick from the kitchen and then I poured some petroleum on her clothes. In less than 5 minutes, all the clothes she owned were burnt out. 30 minutes after I burnt her clothes, Kim ran to the house like a mad woman. "What was that smoke about? What did you do?" She asked me immediately and she set her eyes on me. Of course, guys. I ignored her because she was literally of no use to me. But when she decided to lay her hands on me and try to scratch her nails on my face, I grabbed her and made sure I pushed her to the ground. Reddit, I don't think any of you understands how crazy I discovered Kim is. I can't believe that I've been living with a fool like that for years. When I finally told Kim that I'd burnt all her belongings, she almost ran mad on the spot. She burst into tears and threatened to report me to the police if I didn't buy back her clothes. I ignored all her rants. I knew that there was no point exchanging words with a person like Kim. She was just totally disgusting and had little to no respect for me. So I grabbed her hands and dragged her outside the house. Kim was so shocked that she started screaming dramatically. I didn't act like I heard her screams. I even dragged her out of our gate till we were literally in the middle of the neighborhood. The type of neighborhood I live in is the type that is full of gossips and unserious people. They never miss a chance to listen in on a rumor and watch drama unfold. I knew that well, and that was why I intentionally took her to that particular spot. We attracted a lot of crowd because of how loud Kim had been screaming. I didn't know if she was just trying to be dramatic or if my grip in her hands were really that hard. Well, I will not lie, guys. I did make sure that I bruised her hands while in the process of dragging her out. That part was extremely intentional. Like I earlier said, Kim's screams were drawing a lot of attention, and all the people present seemed to think that I'd been abusing her. I didn't care to explain anything. All I wanted to do was execute everything I had in mind. One of the people who had the audacity to come out and watch the scene was Jason, Kim's lover. I knew he was going to be foolish enough to come, and that was why I even made the scene in the first place. I told all the neighbors that Kim was no longer going to be living with me, and that she was no longer my wife. Even before I could get all my words out, Kim was already shaking vigorously beside me. I knew that she hated public embarrassment and was one of the people who had very huge egos. She didn't want to be embarrassed in public, and that was exactly why I brought her out to face everyone. I told the neighbors that Jason and my wife had been sleeping together, so it was only right for them to live together from now on. So guys, I dragged Kim to where Jason was standing. Then I handed her over to him. He was so shocked and scared when he saw me in front of him. He was literally shaking and his eyes were widened like a fish. I got so enraged that I punched him in the face. What made me angry was the fact that he was just a new neighbor and was barely old enough to be my younger brother. I punched him so hard that I actually drew blood from his face. The neighbors and everyone present tried to stop me, but I made sure I gave him a good beating. At the end of the day, I successfully broke his hand and made him limp a little. The only reason I stopped was because the neighbors intervened and held me. I didn't wait to hear whatever anyone was going to say. I just went back to the house. I arranged my room and trashed every wedding picture that I had. Barely 2 hours after I decided to rest and recharge my energy, I heard noises outside my gate. The private investigator came inside and told me that Kim and her parents were at the door. Apparently, Kim went to call her parents so they could beg me on her behalf and let her back into the house. Yes, guys, you read that right. I couldn't even believe my ears when the gatekeeper told me that Kim's parents were waiting for me at the door. How shameless and irresponsible can a whole family be? How do you confidently follow your daughter to beg her husband after she ruthlessly cheated on him? I was so disgusted that I refused to go see them. That incident really made me realize that I must have been a format. For her parents to confidently accompany her to me, it just shows how stupid and lenient I'd been in the past. After having lunch at home hours later, I decided to go out of the house. I'd practically caused commotion in the neighborhood and everyone seemed to be talking about what I'd done earlier that day. I didn't give a shit. All I wanted to do was go print out the pictures of Kim and Jason. I planned on hanging them all around the neighborhood and in front of my gate so everyone could see. After printing out the pictures, I returned home and decided to hire someone to hang them in the night. You guys won't believe what happened the next morning. I woke up to the sounds of people banging my gate. I was confused, so I decided to go outside and check what was going on. The private investigator I hired as my gatekeeper wasn't around by that time, so I had to go and check myself. When I got to the gate, I saw my neighbors standing there with Kim, who happened to be crying. When I asked them why they were at my gate, they held up one of the printed pictures. Apparently, the person I'd hired had already done his job. Kim fell to her knees and begged me to stop trying to ruin her life. Some of the stupid neighbors begged me too. After having the pictures, some people asked me if I was not feeling embarrassed. I was shocked to be asked that kind of question because it did not just make sense. Why should I be the one feeling embarrassed when I was the one that got cheated on? Why should I be the one that hides his face? It made no sense, and I told them that. The pictures were very provocative, and some of them even included her in a very scandalous state. I denied being the one to have released the pictures before I closed my gate. I had a good breakfast that morning and spent time preparing for work. I had to go see my lawyer that day, so I went there before work. My lawyer had already begun drafting out the divorce papers like I instructed. I need to divorce Kim as soon as possible, and I am working towards it. I had to make sure that the lawyer was good enough to spare me any alimony expenditure. It doesn't make any sense that a cheating wife goes away with your money. That day at work, I had to switch off my phone because I kept getting calls from Kim and her parents. I refused to pick up any of their calls. If they thought that I was just starting out with them, they had to be joking. I was not going to let myself be a doormat like I'd previously done. There was no way that was going to be possible. I still remember how calm and cool I'd been with her family. I even allowed them to take control of the wedding and everything that had to do with it. Now that this whole cheating scandal happened, I've realized that I've been the world's most foolish doormat. I left myself to be used and controlled like a rat. The amount of disgusting disrespect that Kim has shown me just makes me very ashamed of myself. Some people cheat and decide to do it far away from their homes because they are scared of getting caught. Kim was so confident and nonchalant that she had no problem cheating with a neighbor. Let me tell you guys something. It's never okay to be too nice or calm. Sometimes it's okay to be the beast no one guessed you were. I mean, if you're in doubt, just look at where being the good guy took me. I got nothing out of it but betrayal and an unnecessary amount of embarrassment. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part of what I did during these past few days. I got so angry writing this because I kept recalling everything that had been happening. I'm grateful that my keyboard didn't end up suffering as a result of my anger. So, let me tell you all about what I did on Reddit. Before I found out Kim had been cheating on me, we lived normal lives. What I mean by normal lives is that we know a lot about each other. It's just like any other couple. You talk about things and share personal information. I've also shared personal information with Kim and vice versa. It's as a result of this that I'm able to know what her bank PIN is. She also knows my bank PIN, but I already went to the bank to block all my cards and get a new one. I told you guys that Kim is an entrepreneur, right? Well, I have used that to my advantage. She had her savings where she keeps money for her businesses. She also has an account where she keeps the money that her customers sent her so she could buy things for them from any of her trips. I have used this to my advantage. While I was gathering her things, I was able to find one of her ATM cards. I didn't burn that one. Instead, I went to the bank and withdrew everything. When I say I withdrew everything, I mean it. I took everything, including the money that belongs to her customers. I didn't even spare her savings. I destroyed her phone the day I sent her out of the house, so I'm certain that she hasn't been debited yet. She has been using her parents' phone to try and contact me. She isn't even aware of the money that had gone missing. By the time she finds out, it will be too late for her. It's a lot of money, and I will not be calling the amount. I plan on using part of that money to file the divorce case in case it gets too intense. I'm just getting started with her, and she has no idea yet. Maybe I'm trying to get revenge for all the ways she has constantly disrespected me. By the time I am done with her, I'm sure she will regret using me as her doormat. That's all that's been happening within these past few weeks. Apart from the divorce, I plan on doing something soon. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I'll get something together and execute the plan before I update you guys. I also have to use this medium to focus on work, because I have been too busy doing other things for a while. I want to consistently focus on my work now that I have done most of the things I want to do. I still have to make money because money doesn't make itself. That's all for today. I'll update you guys soon. Please keep all your comments coming. I love to see them. Update. I'm on cloud 9 and I'll like to share that with you all. Before I proceed, I'd like to thank every single one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to read and interact with this experience of mine. I never imagined that so many people would even give my unfortunate experience a glance. Now it seems like I'd underestimated myself. I can see all the love you all show me, and I am beyond grateful for it all. Thank you very much. I don't want to deviate too much today. I'm ready to get straight to the point because I am very happy as I write this. Just like I told you guys, I made sure I carefully thought of what I wanted to do next. While I was busy working and spending my free time thinking about everything that had been happening, I decided that it was only right for me to give Jason a piece of my mind. If not for Kim, I didn't even realize that Jason lived that close to our house. I knew we had a new neighbor in the neighborhood, but I never thought that neighbor was sleeping with my wife. What enraged me the most is that he has to be at least 5 years younger than me. I don't even know what women really want at this point. Kim cheated with a younger man, and why did she do that? She was just ready to throw away our marriage for a few seconds of pleasure. That's all there's been to it. All she wanted to do was ruin the marriage. That leads me to my next question. Why is it hard to just ask for a divorce? If you're tired of your partner and you would rather sleep around than fix your marriage, why don't you ask for a divorce? I don't bite. If she asked me for a divorce, I would have given it to her without a second thought. I literally don't care about forcing her to stay. I would have had huge respect for her if she just came to me and demanded we end our marriage. That is more respectful than going out of your way to shamefully cheat on your husband. Only cowards cheat, and I will never have respect for anyone that thinks it's right to cheat. I learned that Jason worked at a tech company, so I decided to pay him a visit at work. Yes, he works at a tech company. I'm sure he must be one of those young rich men who think they can do as they like because they have no real responsibilities and earn a certain amount of money. I'm not sure if it's his money or age that attracted Kim to him. It doesn't make sense that she would stay at my house, eat the food I bought, and then go outside to cheat. Damn, I've been a big fool. I'll keep saying this. The distance from my house to Jason's house is very small. How did I not know? Well, that's why I've worked harder to make sure Kim regrets her actions. When I got to Jason's place of work and asked for him, it took time before I was actually able to see him. He must have been expecting me. After the several beatings I gave him, I didn't expect anything short of that. When Jason saw me, he looked like he could have piss in his pants. I'm actually very offended that Kim decided to cheat on me with a scared cat. Well, I don't judge because I used to be Kim's doormat. It's like she has a type. She attracts the kind of guys she knows she can control. When Jason and I were alone in the lobby, I could tell just how scared he was. I'm a very tall guy, and I've been told that I can look quite intimidating sometimes. Well, that comes as a surprise to me because that did not stop Kim from cheating on me. The fact that Jason was practically showing how scared he was funny. He had a cast and bandage on. I noticed that the beating I gave him last time really dealt with him. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, LOL. There was even a limp in his step. Before I could even speak, Jason started apologizing. Listen, man, I'm sorry for what happened. I messed up. I didn't know she was your wife. She told me the both of you were cousins and she was just staying at your house till she was back on her feet. That's what he said to me. Yes, guy. Apparently, Kim lied to him and told him we were just cousins. I was skeptical at first and I didn't want to believe him, but he gave me all the price I needed. He even had voice recordings of Kim continuously referring to me as her cousin. Well, that wasn't how I felt about him. He was just as stupid as she was. If he was really curious and wanted to find out if I was really her cousin, he would have been able to find out. He just wanted to go with what she told him because he was also interested in her. Ignorance is never an excuse. But I didn't do anything to him, guys. I already gave him enough beatings. I was not ready to waste my time with Kim's sloppy second. I will never give her that satisfaction of thinking she got under my skin by cheating on me. Well, she did get under my skin, but she doesn't need to know that yet. I asked Jason if Kim was still at his place, and he said no immediately. He told me that he had chased her out and he had broken up with her. I asked him why he did that, and he said he was just not ready to date a married woman. I was surprised to hear that because my main reason for coming to meet him was just to make him break up with her. Jason did that even without my intervention. I didn't have to lift a finger before all my wishes came true, lol. Jason kept apologizing to me before I left. I had no business with him anymore, so I saw no reason why I should waste any time accepting his apologies. It made me feel good to know that Jason and Kim had broken up. I didn't want to take his word for it, so I asked my private investigator to find out if everything was true. Barely 2 days later, he told me that Jason was right. Kim was no longer living with him, and they had broken up 2 weeks before I even found out. That was part of the reason why Kim kept calling me with her mom's phone. She wanted me to take her back. 2 weeks after visiting Jason at work, I was practically ambushed at my place of work. Kim fell to her knees and started crying. She threatened to strip herself naked if I didn't forgive her. Yes, you definitely read that right. Imagine how shocked I was. My colleagues were stunned to see what had been going on. Kim thought she could emotionally blackmail me into doing something I didn't want to do. I told her she could strip naked if she wanted to, and that it was none of my business. My boss accused me of leaving work early, and I left Kim at work to continue embarrassing herself. None of what she was doing mattered to me at all. When I got back from work that day, my lawyer told me that the divorce papers were ready. I sent them to Kim's house after signing them, and patiently waited for her to sign them. Kim didn't sign the papers even after 2 weeks. She showed up at my house and demanded to speak to me. Apparently, she went to the bank and discovered that all her money was gone. She pleaded with me to return the money because her customers were trying to sue her. I denied taking the money and asked her to leave my house. Kim told me she would not sign the divorce papers unless I returned the money. I didn't have a problem with that because I am not even planning on getting married anytime soon. I don't want any legal drama. She can draw out the divorce all she wants. As long as she's getting sued in court and is currently dead broke, single and abandoned, I do not have any problem with it. I've gotten the perfect revenge and that is okay for me. I even have a girlfriend now. We're just having fun, and it's nothing serious. It was tough, but I had a lot of fun. Thank you all for reading and cementing. It means a lot to me. Bye.